since he left office. El-Rufai is just an angry man, frustrated man who has failed and disappointed over political events since he left office. So let me listen to
Current
this.
Kaduna who was in power for 8 years, and you have just called him an angry man. You have implied that his administration laid the groundwork for this current situation. I have also implied that El-Rufai is now tasting the same medicine he once served others,
It's called
especially
karma.
given the accusations of political repression during his own tenure. But based on what you had tweeted earlier, do you see any similarities between how he governed and what he now criticizes?
Yeah, wait for it.
Well, he should be grateful that we are in a democracy and freedom of speech is being respected and also being upheld. But in Kaduna State, for the 8 years which he served as a governor, there is no freedom of speech. And if you freely express your opinion critical of his administration, he either threatens you with thugs or threatens you with courts. And I can give you a typical example. Journalists were arrested and jailed for doing their simple work. My dad Joseph is from Leadership newspaper. He was arrested and prosecuted for writing a story critical of Nasser's government. Luca Biniat of Vanguard newspaper was arrested and prosecuted for writing reports about Nasser's government. Anthony Jacobson of Authentic newspaper was arrested and prosecuted for,
that's a lot of names.
for doing his story. Even others who are not journalists, like Mekori, the CEO of Chocolate City, was brought from Lagos and prosecuted in Kaduna. Several cases like this exist. The leaders of Southern Kaduna of Kajuru, local government, when they came to express their anger, frustration over the killing of their traditional ruler, who was the Maiwada, they were arrested and they languished for over a year in Kaduna prison. Islamic clerics from Zaria who came out to pray against him over the sacking of their members who are members of Nigerian Union of Teachers, he arrested them and took them to the court. I remanded them in Kaduna prison. I was the one who supported the legal team that brought them out of prison. He's not a man who respects the rule of law. In Kaduna State, there have been rulings, injunctions, and judgments given against Kaduna State government. He never respected or obeyed one. There was a ruling given that he should not sack civil servants. He sacked them. A ruling that he should not sack teachers. He sacked them. A ruling that civil servants who were forcefully retired.
Again, just to be fair, and to also put this in context, in terms of civil servant sacking and all of those, again, we just have to be careful. While I don't support, people losing their jobs and all of that, a judge cannot usurp the power of an executive governor. Now, every other thing that I said about El-Rufai, I kind of, okay, fine, that's fine. Oh, he did this, went against the rule of law, went against the injunction and all that. At what point do you think that the judicial system is also overstepping its bound? Because, except you put things in proper perspective, it might be very difficult, okay, for you to be able to even rule, because any small thing you want to do, there's an injunction. Any small changes you want to make, there's an injunction. Now, that doesn't excuse for what El-Rufai did with respect to, arresting those that are your critics. That's really wrong. And again, I look at El-Rufai and I'm like, all these things pales in comparison to what happened in Southern Kaduna. Because that forever tainted your record in Kaduna. You did well in terms of infrastructure and all that, but that forever tainted you. And now, look at the names Shehu Sani is reeling out here. How do you explain that? How do you even explain? How do you start to talk about that? That's crazy. So El-Rufai should kind of, just simmer down a little bit, take a break, and when you come back, possibly you have a very good perspective. Again, he has his own followers, but I don't think that he has this massive cult follower like Buhari or Kwankwaso.
He refused to pay them. So he is not a Democrat. He is not a person that embraces freedom of speech. Now he's even claiming to be a Nostradamus who can predict the elections of the future.
Right.
But we know that he was a sitting governor in Kaduna State when he couldn't be a good mathematician. He wasn't a good mathematician when Tinubu lost to Atiku. He couldn't be a good mathematician when APC lost all the 3 senatorial seats. He couldn't be a good mathematician when APC lost 9 of the 15 seats to the opposition PDP in the state. Someone who was in power, he couldn't deliver his party, he couldn't deliver his presidential candidate, he couldn't deliver his senators, is today turning into a false prophet of what.
Again, that's not good. You lost your senatorial stuff. You lost 9 seats again, right, to the opposition. I mean, at this point in time, and again, I know he's not really a politician. To be honest with you, I said yesterday he rode on the wings and the popularity of Buhari to become governor. Obasanjo, as much as I don't see him as an hero, didn't even have so much nice things to say about El-Rufai. So it's over for him, politically speaking. I mean, it's over.
All right, Senator.
He couldn't even be a good mathematician to predict that his party cannot win the by-election in Zaria and in Chukuna and Kajuru.
All
so
right.
he's today trying to
Senator,
predict something.
We'll come to the
Yes.
political angle of that conversation.
Again, that's it. I saw that and I felt like, okay, it's good. It's good about that. Yeah, El-Rufai doesn't understand democracy, what democracy is all about. I fully agree. I fully agree with that. Oh, Shehu is 73 years old. Bro, how time flies. Most of these TikTok people won't really know him. I usually hear his name a lot, even though I'm not a football person.
Of time. Nasir El-Rufai is a man who is 65 years old.
This is an
One
advice.
should be blessed at his own age and the opportunity he had in life. You were a DG of BP for 4 years. You were a minister for 4 years. You were a governor for 8 years, and you are 65 years old. And the people who are in Kaduna State government now are either in their mid-40s or early 50s. If God has blessed you to have achieved all these things in life, finish as a governor for 8 years, and then instead of you to go and rest and pray for the person you assisted.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe I wouldn't agree that it is to go rest. I mean, maybe the other thing, yeah, but not for him to go rest. I mean, if he's still okay and active and agile, yeah, let him. It's a free world, right? You could always do what you want to do. Doesn't really matter.
For him to be in office. Rather, you are seen to be climbing a bus and raising a flag, still campaigning, quarreling and fighting with people who are young enough to be your children and younger brothers. So when you see a man of 65 at that age who has achieved all the things he wants to achieve in life, still on top of a bus, sweating, passing through a market, raising flag, then you know that something is wrong with such kind of person. The tension in Kaduna State is not caused by anything other than such a man who should be grateful for the Lord that has blessed him to sit down. And he still wants to prove a point. And he cannot prove any point here. His time has passed. If he said he has assisted Sani to be the governor of Kaduna State today, Senator Hunkwi assisted him to be the governor of Kaduna State.
Wow.
Nasir was never a politician.
I agree.
Structures were established, set up.
Yep.
They brought him from nowhere. He never even contested for a councillor in his life. Hunkwi became his DG, made him a governor of Kaduna State. He demolished the house of Hunkwi. He sent talks after Hunkwi. So if he said Oba has betrayed him, he also betrayed Hunkwi.
What goes
For
around
me,
comes around.
I think the problem is that for such kind of person, he should understand that his time has gone. The election that just took place, this by-election, is an indication that
Yeah,
this
I
is
agree.
not his time. He lost in Zaria. He lost in the central part of Kaduna. He couldn't produce anything. His party was almost even last in the whole table of this performance. Is it not enough for somebody with family, with wives, with children, for him to go back and do other things? When he was a governor, he said when he's out of office, he's going to go back to school. He never went back to school.
Well,
when he was a governor, he said when he's out of office, he's going back to business. He went to Kano and launched a business and never is seen in the field of business. He is still back in politics. If a 65-year-old man is still in politics, struggling for what God has already given him, what is the future of people in their 20s and in their 30s in Nigeria?
Let me quickly come in here. I mean, Shehu
don't vex. Shehu Sani is vexing. Yeah, because he knows what El-Rufai did to him. But again, it's what it is, right? At this point, I don't expect that, Nasir El-Rufai, I don't expect him to be this, I'm going to bring down the whole house because I didn't have my way. I mean, this is more like a 3-year-old, fight over cookies. I don't expect that from him at all. At all. I'm telling you, I don't. But I guess he's going to learn because politics is not what you think about. He became a governor on the whims and the popularity of Buhari. That's just what I think. And that's that about that. Okay, so let's see. Okay, at this point, I think I've covered most of the things I want to